What comes into your head when I say the word concussion?
Memory loss.
Awful.
Sorry. Can you give me a moment?
Forgotten.
Out cold?
Brain damage. Life ending.
Too young.
Rugby is hugely popular on either side of the channel. The sport, though, has a serious issue with concussion. These men are battling life-changing brain injuries following their playing careers and are now determined to make it safer. Alex Popham is driving that desire for change. A former Wales international forward, he was diagnosed with early onset dementia in 2020. Through his charity Head for Change, he puts himself through physical challenges to raise money and awareness of the issue. And he's about to embark on his biggest challenge yet, swimming the channel.
Let's get to France. We played South Africa, and before the game we met Nelson Mandela, and I woke up in hospital, swallowed my tongue, had a fit on the pitch. You always wanted to representative honours. First cap was a childhood dream. Memories of it aren't really there, unfortunately, like a lot of my career. So it was, it'd be 4 years to the day, 4 years in September, that around this spot was where I got lost. I'm not exactly sure because it's a bit hazy of what actually happened, but it was the route that I've just come on and I didn't know where I was.
Must have been scary.
It was, because I know these roads so well, and for having that feeling of not knowing where you are, and the anxiety kicked in and all the worry of things that I've been putting off, making excuses.
It was really upsetting because I was working in my office and he'd called. I think I'd missed the first call and ended a call and called him back, and he was really distressed. He was clearly shaken up on the phone. He got back and came in and he burst into tears. And in that moment I said, right, that's it. No more arguments. You're going to the doctor. You okay?
Yeah, good. Headwind on the way there.
You catch on the way back?
Yeah. On the way back.
When did you first notice things weren't quite right with Alex?
The things that were going on, I started to become really anxious and very scared about leaving Darcy overnight with Al because of the memory things that were happening. He set the kitchen on fire while Darcy was in her high chair here and I was upstairs. And I smelt something from upstairs and came down and he hadn't realised he'd put the grill on and flames everywhere. And so those things, you know, the flooding of the bathroom with the bath, forgetting conversations, and she was a little baby, she wasn't even 12 months old, and it was hard. I'd be up in London, staying in my flat there with my sister, and I wouldn't sleep all night.
With Mel's help, Alex has come up with an ambitious plan to get 2 teams of former players to join him on the swim to France. He's put the call out to both league and union, and the first recruits are about to find out what they've signed up for.
Yeah, firstly, I'd just like to thank the ex-players for committing to this challenge. It's going to be an amazing adventure. And I don't want us from the start to think of us as 2 teams. We're in this together, we're in this supporting. Yeah. So we're as one on a mission getting to France.
Hi everyone, I'm Mickey Edwards. First and foremost, I had an idea, sat down when I got diagnosed with dementia and CTE. A lot of players are walking around like unwanted broken toys. I never in my wildest dreams thought that we'd have this today. He's done us all proud, to be honest, and I want to give him a big clap because it's a lot of work.
What else if you need to go to the toilet?
We're too short with the leagueies. But when we go tomorrow, put your gloves on, so your gloves are underneath.
We had lots of plans. Al and I are people who, we had big plans and dreams and going and living by the sea and, you know, planning to take an adult gap year at some point, take Darcy out of school and travel around the world for a year. Suddenly, that vision in your mind has just been turned upside down, and ultimately I felt like it had been just taken away from me in one phone call on the 16th of April. And that is the hard bit. And when you've got other friends who are making plans, or for us, one of the really hard things was not having a second baby together, which that was something I found really hard to come to terms with, because that was something we'd planned and were about to do.
So when you were in the toughest moments and you came up here, what were you thinking at that point? Emotionally, mentally, what was going on? Why was this so helpful?
I suppose often it was a place I could come and cry. You can hear the birds and look up at the clouds, look up the blue skies, and just, I don't know, somehow it just made things feel better.
What were the triggers that meant you thought, I just have to get out for a bit?
Explosions from Al, emotional explosions often. I wanted to remove myself from that situation. He was never physical towards me, but he, you know, damaged our house at times, and he would get very verbally angry, and I found that very hard at times. I'd locked Darcy and I in the utility room to avoid one of the situations, I call them the Incredible Hulk moments that was happening, and had managed to calm him down and calm things down. And I then sort of left and came up here and seriously asked myself, you know, how can I continue doing this?
Today's all about who you are as swimmers, what you can and can't do.
Mate, you're going to teach me from scratch.
The basics, yeah?
Really from scratch, as if you're teaching a 2-year-old how to swim.
People who know me in the past know that in anything I do in life, I've always been, I'm miserable.
Elbow high, there we go. Elbow high, yes.
The good side of that is the fact that, I mean, people tell me I'm incredibly driven, hence this challenge. Some days when you sit there and you contemplate and you're thinking, and you're trying to think, have I got the disease, have I not got the disease? I think that's the biggest fear, because maybe in, say, 5-10 years' time, am I going to forget everything?
You've got a slightly different challenge to the others.
Yeah, I might be going around in circles now, but no, unfortunately, last year I lost my leg, so apparently swimming is all in the kick in, so I might be struggling a bit, but no, it'd be a nice little challenge to do.
Francis, how did you find that?
Harder than I thought, actually. I haven't swum for 20 years, but it is quite hard to get the right technique and whatnot, but it's the first session in 20 years, so onwards and upwards, really, you know, just I need to practice a bit more.
Good. Right, lower your head down. So at the moment you're looking straight, you're looking directly forwards.
That's all I wanted to do, was play professional rugby, and luckily I got the chance, even though it ended the way it did. But obviously, I just wish I could have gone a bit further.
So this, Mickey, is where it all began. Allenson Street Primary School, St Helens.
It certainly is. Best school ever, this. Back in the day, I had a tin roof. Got that there, another one. Dream big, work hard, never give up. Fantastic, yeah?
You can take that motto with you into the big swim.
The first time I got up on the roof was because people had lost balls, and we never had a ball. So there was always thousands of balls on the roof. This is where we played rugby here. I was only a kid, little. I was obviously tiny. We had little blue tops on, and my house bedroom window was where that tree is.
Literally through there?
Yeah, through that little gap. There was no trees here then. It was just concrete slabs. I don't think we had a rugby ball. I think we end up with somebody had a rugby ball, but I think his dog popped it. So we used the pop rugby ball for years. Any more orders for the deliveries?
You were the brains behind the swim. Talk to us about that and tell me how it came about.
You remember only in February that year I got diagnosed with dementia, you know what I mean, which is a terminal illness. So I hadn't really come to terms. I needed something for me to forget about what I was going through and what I've been told, and to do something straight away
which helps me to progress through the months.
So why the swim then? Why swimming the channel? Where did that come from?
Well, I was thinking about what I could do, and I don't know what come across me, but I was in here one day and I just basically said to myself, I'm going to swim the channel. My granddad was in the Second World War, that group that went across, and they got beat to the beaches, and they had to try and get back on any boat possible. And it was just, imagine, he said the fantastic thing was to seeing them boats come across. It was just basically to remember him. Obviously the channel swim, obviously he went across the channel, which basically saved his life. Just to let me have a look at a small part of what he went through. Everyone's told me all my life that I've not been good enough. Can't do that, you know what I mean? You won't do that, you won't come to anything, you know what I mean? And I've always proved them wrong.
The pictures on the wall, obviously, because I've got Louis Dementia, it basically, I'm going to forget a lot of things. I'm going to not remember where I've come from, what I've done, where I'm going, and these pictures hopefully are going to remind me over the next incoming years.
It was difficult because at the end of the day I could see the person that I loved to pieces and I couldn't help him. And he didn't want the help because that was his defence, that was his backup mechanism that kicked in. He didn't want me to help him, but I really wanted to help him, and that was hard because it hurts when you see the person hurting and you want to make it better and you can't. We're lucky in the fact that he's found out at an early stage, and we can hopefully work to slow things down. As far as I'm concerned, he's just my Mickey. And yeah, you can't think of somebody as being ill. It's like anything, you've just got to enjoy and just be as normal as possible. You can't really think. If you do think, then you get scared.
The scale of the next challenge is also a daunting one. Mickey will lead the team of 6 rugby league swimmers as they race Team Rugby Union in a relay across the channel. It's 18.2 nautical miles to France as the crow flies, or approximately 21 land miles. However, that is only part of the story. Each swimmer is in the water for an hour at a time, as well as the huge waves and one of the busiest international shipping lanes in the world. Channel swimmers also have to contend with incredibly powerful tides. The currents will drag them in different directions as they cross, meaning that the actual swim will look more like this S shape. The stronger the currents and the slower the team swim, the longer the distance they will all have to cover.
The water is about 7.5 degrees, all right? So it can really take your breath away if you're not acclimatised. So the way we're going to work this is, rather than everyone just running straight in the water and, giving themselves a great big cold water shock, what we'd like you to do is just get in really slowly.
I've swum in lakes, and I've swum in quarries, and I've swum in open water, but I haven't swum in the sea for any kind of distance. So being out on the boat in the middle of the channel, in the dark, they're the things that excite me and also make me a little bit frightened.
Squeeze on 3, 1, 2, 3,
Hardest thing was putting your face in there and getting used to that kind of stuff. Got some lunatics that I've been getting ice cold water baths for the last 2 months. But no, it was different.
Cool with that? Yeah. Yeah, all right now.
What's the thinking behind taking the wetsuit down?
Just to climb test the water. When you look at the Bristol Channel here, you actually realise how big a challenge it is. It's like, it's not as easy as I thought. Like, everyone underestimates things, doesn't they? And that was my initial reaction, but I looked at that then and I was like, oh my God, it's going to be tough.
Your jaw's starting to go a little bit numb, so it's hard to talk. Yeah. But yeah, it's well worth the experience. I love it.
I think there's a bit of reality setting, if I'm honest, today, because I think it's about 10 degrees outside here, 7 degrees or so in the water. And I think for some of the guys, it's been a bit of a joke up until this point. The camaraderie coming back together as former teammates, as former players. And then I think looking out there specifically across the estuary, the choppy water, this is no joke.
I think reality has hit for a few of the boys and shows what a challenge we all face.
On your mark, set, go. All the way, all the way. All the way, all the way. Legs out.
take leaves home, don't we? And we do painting and sticking.
You could take a leaf home and draw that leaf.
Exactly.
Fast forward 20 years, where do you see yourself?
Having fun, making memories, remembering those memories.
Your biggest fears then?
Not being here as me. But we won't talk about that because I don't like to put that in my head.
Look at all my God. You see all the way up to the top? Look at that.
My biggest memories of Kai is that he just used to think life was one big game. He wanted to play that game. Everything was to him. It was a challenge, and that's how his outlook on life was. He was a joy to be around. He turned up on his motorbike outside my house and rang me, and he said, what am I up to? And said, get the kettle on, I'm on the driveway. He'd had, that I know of, a minimum of 11 concussions throughout his career. Some of those were pretty intense, if I'm honest. He was concerned how he was worried. He was due for a brain scan shortly afterwards. He knew something was wrong.
And what happened after that?
Kai left after that conversation. Probably that's my hardest point of my reflection with Kai. Ultimately that was his closure. Yeah, that was his goodbye to me. I never had that opportunity to say goodbye. Sorry.
The emotion is still raw for Andrew. He blames rugby and specifically those concussions for Kai taking his own life.
It was his boyhood dream growing up, going to play for his hometown. He was, I suppose, what some would classify as a bit of a modern day warrior on the field. He would put his body where most wouldn't. Recall one time he'd had such a serious concussion. He was left in the dressing room on his own. He couldn't find his way out of the dressing room. He didn't know where the showers were. He had no idea where he was.
If you could have one more conversation with him, what would you say? What would you have said in that last moment? Do you know?
I wish I knew now what I knew then. I could have joined the dots. I could have helped him more. And that's tough to take.
I don't know about you boys at the moment, but me, I'm struggling mentally at the moment. It's like with the big dance and the big swim, just a few months away now. You just want to sort of, when a man passing time, you just want to get to it. It feels like it's a Thursday before a big game on a Saturday. You just want the days to pass. The training becomes a little bit monotonous.
Morning all. For the boss, Matty Dwyer here. Morning, man. Got up early. Come across to Clevedon Pool to get a session in, and this is what we had when we arrived. Doing maintenance.
Had a swim today. It's this classed as an open water swim. It is heated.
I had 14 concussions when I've been knocked out completely. Like a badge of honour. Hi guys. Hi fellas, how are we? All right.
Hello Francis, how are you mate?
How you doing?
Keeping all right?
Yeah, good, yeah.
Good man.
Come on guys. This is the rail with all the stuff on. And this as well, that I'm going to sell. That's my pastime now, so that's basically where I am. Because obviously at the minute, I'm sort of sofa surfing. I've managed to get somewhere to live. To not be able to work anymore, I can't. Every time I speak to somebody, they say to me, well, you're on benefits, you're not working, so they all say no. Do you know how much that were?
Go on.
Have a guess.
50 quid.
2 quid.
Wow.
2 quid. I might keep that and all. I remember the day because it's one of the days you're never going to forget. March the 1st, 2000. What year are we now? 23. 2021. And I remember sat there. I'd just been talking to Dr. Older. I was sat in the lay-by, just thinking, God, what's he just said to me? You know, and I'm trying to take it all in. And then I thought, where do I go from here? You don't know where to turn. You don't know who to turn to, who to speak to, what the hell's going on. You know, you get diagnosed with a condition, you think, geez, you know, what's going on here? This is, what do I do next? I went into self-destruct mode, if I'm honest. I tried to commit suicide twice, and I realised what a mess I'd made of myself and my kids' lives. And I thought, I'd not seen him for a few months, and I thought, you know what, what's the point of me being here? I've always been called a failure. My old man called me a failure for quite a few years. Well, he did. Not a few years. He always called me a failure. And I sort of stuck to that. I was a failure, you know. It's only the last couple of years, obviously, I realised that I wasn't a failure.
What about when you were drinking, and how much were you drinking?
When you're in a situation where you don't know what you're doing, and people, not necessarily people with dementia, people with depression, and they just want to blot it all out. And the easiest way to do it is forget about it. But when you wake up, it's still there, that's the problem. I think there's a reason why I'm still here. And I think the reason why I'm still here is because I can help other people.
Did anyone at any point give you a time frame in terms of your life expectancy or anything like that?
So I've got about a 10-year span. It's heartbreaking, really. You know, 50-year-old blokes being told they've got 8 to 10 years left to live. It's not normal.
This is the 3 generations of rugby players.
So who have we got here?
John, my husband, and Francis, and Dominic, and then Francis's 2 boys.
Joel and Tate there.
And son-in-law.
And Mark.
Yeah.
I'd lost a daughter, and then John went, and then this happened to Francis. I just thought the whole world's caving in, really. But you see, he's fit, isn't he? He doesn't look poorly. But it's awful. You know, because it affects everybody, not just them.
What does dementia mean to you now? Like now you've had experience of it.
Well, it used to just remind me of old people that were forgetful, and you don't think young people can get it, do you? Well, I don't. And well, it's just an awful thing, and I just hope they find a cure before it gets to him. But,
what has been the big impact on you?
Frightened that he'd kill himself, because I know he's tried to. He's had a couple of doses, but that was the worst thing that could have happened if he'd have killed himself. Keep saying he won't, but you know.
Well, I'm past that now.
I hope so.
I am. I really am past it.
He had a sister who tried to live, but couldn't, you know, and left 3 little girls. And I had to try and make him think that you know, she fought, and he's throwing it all away.
Our key areas today is practice swimming in deep water and keeping next to the boat, alright? What's really important is that we don't swim really close to the engine at the back, alright? So I'm going to encourage captain to make sure the engine's off each time we're swapping. We're going to go in pairs, It'd be really great if we could practice swimming on the left side of the boat, breathing to your right. And it'd be great if we can practice swimming on the right side of the boat, breathing to your left.
Name.
Kevin Brown.
Position.
Standoff. Playing for your country was the biggest dream for me. That was the pinnacle. I was never a player that was gifted with lots of natural talent and athleticism, so I had to work hard at a lot of things. So hopefully I can transfer that to this.
I'm like a bit Peter Panish. I'm always up for a challenge. I fly planes, I fly helicopters, I shoot, I got a shooting license, motorbikes, paddleboard, anything I can have a go at, I'll have a go at. So I'm always up for an adventure. So, when Al come and said what he's doing here, I said yes before realizing what I'm saying yes to, and now it's starting to get daunting now because it's getting closer and you're thinking, right, I've actually committed to this and I've got to follow through.
I think it'll be daunting. I think we'll have challenging and it'll be difficult in the choppy waters. Some of the guys are not used to open water swimming. I've done a fair amount of open water swimming and I have swum in the sea before doing various Ironmen. So I'm a little bit accustomed to it, but I think the channel's a whole different ball game.
I went professional when I was 18. I played for London Irish for 6 years. My first test against Australia at night in Murrayfield. The idea of it, as in my first test and what it represented in my life and playing international rugby, huge, but I got 2 concussions in the game and the memories are a bit blurry. When I got the diagnosis, it was actually a very difficult time. I scanned my brain and there's parts of my brain have changed and there's damage in these areas, etc. It was quite overwhelming. I've always loved the idea of charity and doing things. The next thing I know, I'm going to swim the channel, which scares me. But it's been a beautiful process to be part of.
Goffy, we're playing the blame game.
Oh, okay.
Alex has said that you're responsible for the lack of boat out there.
Well, I'm a middleman. Right? I put Alex in touch with people with the boat. Yeah, it could be. I'm a local, so I'll have to take the rap on it.
The fact there was no boat, I suppose, for you is the biggest issue because you're still building yourself up to that level.
Yeah, I'm still in the infancy process. For me, it's just that it's a mental challenge, getting used to what I need to do.
Technique working in the sea today, which was good. So yeah, I'm feeling confident, but a little better.
How much have you done in the sea before?
None. Actually quite refreshing how buoyant we were in the sea, so, but yeah, it's a little bit different than swimming in the pool.
Cheers, Mickey! Papa Americano!
To most people, they can see me as a normal person. I don't want to keep showing up in the world and putting a brave face on and transforming into someone else to appease someone else. I just want to be myself.
What's your intention today? Connect with the cold underneath your feet. Connect with your tiredness.
Between understanding that I had a problem and then getting tested and diagnosed, there was a long period. And I actually avoided the doctors for a long time. I can get stuck into loops. You feel very lonely, and then it's only when you talk about it and you talk to other people that you actually, I'm not alone in this. I think the first time we met up on the swim, it was the guys stood up and they expressed themselves and the stuff they were going through, and it's like a mirror.
Fast forward 20 years then, where do you see yourself?
20 years, I'll be 52. Obviously, we will have hopes and dreams, but honestly, I've never planned anything. I never planned to be a rugby player. I never planned to do anything that I've done in the time from rugby till now, and it's been an adventure. I just want to be on an adventure still. The professionals on the buoy went over me like a stampede, a complete freak accident.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go! Come on!
Boys taking part in Ironman Tenby, enjoying the first lap of the swim, and the professionals on the buoy went over me like a stampede, a complete freak accident. Took a bang, a knee or a heel to the temple. Mel said she was screaming at me, like cheering me on. I've got no recollection of seeing Mel.
When he did come out, he just looked completely dazed. His eyes looked really glazed, and I was screaming in his face, and it was like, it was me. And he was just sort of doing this to me.
And they called a medic to see me, who then took me to the medical tent, and they decided to take me into hospital.
The things I was looking out for, the lack of appetite, he wouldn't eat all day. When has Alex ever not eaten all day? The blinding headache that the paracetamol didn't really touch.
Afternoon, lads. I've just got some bad news. I'm actually gutted, really, but I'm not going to be able to do the swim due to I have a tear in my shoulder, and obviously my own mental health has been suffering lately, so I haven't been up to the training. I will be there. I spoke to Mel and Alex. I'm going to be team manager, so I'll be down there cracking the whip, and I'll see you in Dover, and keep up the training because you're doing superb, and I think it's brilliant what you're doing, guys. You know, some of you come out of your comfort zone, and all credit to you, lads. See you soon.
Rugby league team, we're coming for the union lads now.
And I've been probably in not the best headspace this week. You know, the ups and downs of life.
This is where it's come to, boys. 5:15 in the morning sessions just to get us swimming before work to try and catch up with you league boys. This is nappy. I'm knackered.
Relax. Don't scrap the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you and then I'll watch you, okay? You need to be a yacht, not a tugboat. 100 times better. Absolutely brilliant. That must have been loads easier.
It was loads easier.
Mickey's got it. Every time you bring your head out of the water, you go out of shape and it's resistant, so it's like having a parachute behind you. And because your head's massive as well. Even more.
Swimming the channel. When he first told you he was going to be doing that, what was your reaction?
It's inspirational. He's done all right actually, swimming 2-3 Ks in an hour, which I thought was quite impressive. That's his goal, to swim 2.5 K in an hour, something like that. He's looking a bit slimmer as well, because obviously when he started he wasn't the slimmest person ever. So yeah, he's done quite well.
When Jason announced he was doing the Big Rugby Swim, it was a shock to us all. He's not a strong swimmer, so you know, I was like, are you sure this is something you're going to be able to do? But he was adamant it was a challenge. He's had the shoulder injury as well, so he's been undertaking physio regular for that as well, so that did set him back a bit. To see sort of how far he has come now, yeah, he's doing really well.
How does it look for you in terms of your training prep?
I'm on course. And the Rugby League boys, there's a really, really nice balance between us, even though I'm maybe the weakest swimmer. This morning when we did the swim, first comment was really, really tough. And it was only when Cliff came in and did a coaching session with me, just a little bit of work and refining the action, that sort of it made a massive, massive difference. So I've just got to take that as a positive from this morning, that we're redefining the action and we move on and we get ready for October.
How many concussions do you think you suffered during your rugby career?
I was reasonably lucky in that I've probably only 2 or 3 over a 12-year career. It's a double-edged sword for me, really. Maybe I'm scared of what the result will be, knowing that I could have early onset dementia. There's nothing in my family of that nature, so it certainly wouldn't be hereditary. It would be as a result of possible head injuries.
I thought a concussion was knocked out, flat knocked out, unconscious. I didn't realise, the concussions registered on the scale at a much lower end to that high-end concussion. And I was 17 years into my rugby career when I found that out, not being invincible. That's the thing that probably scares you, something to see that you could be vulnerable.
The former players on this challenge are split into two very distinct camps. On one side you've got Alex, Mickey, Francis, Kieran, who have been diagnosed with neurodegenerative disease from the head impacts they suffered while playing. And then in the other camp you've got their teammates, players who will have suffered a similar number of concussions and subconcussions, but they don't yet know what toll that's taken on their brain health. So for them, the fear very much lies in the unknown.
Yeah, good to see you again.
Pretty good?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Good to see you again.
It's always sunny in Wales. Today we've got about a 3-hour protocol ahead of us. We'll start with the cognitive assessment. Those are paper-based questionnaires designed to assess things like your attention, your memory, concentration, and so on.
Colour, house, river.
Colour, house, river, farmer, turkey, school, children.
So what's the purpose of the cognitive tests you're doing in here?
They're designed to assess things like memory, attention, concentration, and coordination. This very top line's telling us how quickly blood flow is travelling towards the brain. It gives us a good indication of how well a person's brain functions overall in terms of memory, concentration, coordination and activities of daily living that those tasks are naturally associated with.
I was saying two names that one was never on the list, and I kept repeating children and circle, and it wasn't even on the list at all.
What I've done here now is provide us a basic presentation on your findings. So this is when you had that CO2 bag. Good news is within clinical boundaries, so no concern from a clinical perspective, but you are slightly lower than both the retired players on average and the control group as well. Next up, we'll go to those cognitive assessments. So we've picked out on the two key assessments that typically are reflected with some kind of impairment in retired players, okay? Even if you did have concerns that your cerebral blood flow or the blood flow to your brain was a bit lower than the other groups that we've tested in the past, it's good to know that cognitively that hasn't led to an impairment in how you think, remember information and concentrate.
This has reaffirmed for me that, yeah, I'm not in bad shape. Obviously things could be better. So, things to do, but overall, great results.
That feeling, a bit of happiness and relief that come through, and there's no anomalies that are really sort of sticking out. But a little bit of guilt for the boys that are struggling and have caught it.
How stark is the issue facing rugby right now with regards to concussion?
It's unreal. It's just not concussions, it's the subconcussion. So every contact is causing a little bit of damage, and that's what people don't understand. I wasn't aware of subconcussive hits. They worked out I had over 100,000 during my career. Like the mileage on a car, when you buy a car, you look at how many miles it's done. A rugby player's got to work out how many hits they've had over their career, and that's got to be managed.
Are the authorities listening?
No. They just need to draw a line in the sand of what's gone on in the past. We can't change that. We need to look after these players now, because there's going to be a lot more diagnosed in the future otherwise. And also the next generation, the mums and dads watching this, if they're not making it as safe as possible, the numbers aren't going to be there to play this great game in the future.
Will this problem go away of its own accord?
Unless the changes are made, no. The biggest one for me is education. If we get that right with the next generation, mums and dads, coaches, They won't be pushing players back on the pitch.
People play a sport like rugby because they enjoy physicality, they enjoy contact, they enjoy carrying and doing the basic parts of the game. We have always been led by science in this space. The people who are involved in the game are all people who love the game and want to look after players. I've never met a team doctor who didn't have their players' interest first and foremost in their heart. And what we must understand is that at any point in time, you can only manage things with the information you've got.
Do you concede that rugby as a sport, as a whole, slept on this issue too long?
No, we were the first sport to introduce an off-field assessment. We were the first sport to gather the data prospectively. We were the first sport to have a digital platform on which we gather all this information so that we can study it and improve it. I would say we're actually leaders in this space rather than the other way around. People clash heads in other events as well. That happens. Our job is to try and make sure that the number of times that occurs is as small as it possibly can be. I think now that there's a growing understanding of the fact that we need to limit these events, that's a good thing, because we need players to understand that, we need coaches to understand that, and I would say any conversation we're having, even the fact that you and I are speaking today, is a positive.
How big is the issue today, do you feel?
The issue is as big as it needs to be. We need to continue to manage this. We need to get this right. I have the full support of our executive board, and we have good funding. We get the resources we need to do that work. We're making some great strides. The game treats this very seriously. I treat this very seriously. This is pretty much all I do. And from our point of view, I think we need to keep that as our focus and push onwards.
Okay, stop. Follow me going now. So when you see me stop, just swim past me.
How was it? That was brilliant. First, another fear gone. To be fair, ready for the big swim in a few weeks' time. Swimming in the dark, done and dusted, box ticked, happy days, let's get on with it.
You ready?
I'm ready, let's go.
Ben, obviously you're fairly new to this whole group. How did you find that?
Yeah, it was lovely. It was actually warmer than expected. It's a bit lucky today, but it was good, really good. Awesome to be out. It's just so good to meet the guys and be part of the team.
Sighting, we're not so bad here. We've got the lights around us. In the middle of the channel, there's not going to be that advantage, so we're really going to have to focus on where the boat is.
When you're following a boat or whatever, I think it's going to be all right because there's a floodlight on the side, but as it stands in there, it's quite disorientating.
First time you've done that?
First time I've done a night swim, yeah. Not the first time I swam. Getting ready for the big one today.
Today's the day, guys. You've all been working hard. You've all been doing some serious hours in the pool, hours in the sea, hours in the lakes. And today we're in the Clevedon Lake here in Bristol, ready to do your 2-hour test swim. It's strict rules today, guys, okay? You've got to swim for 2 hours. If you don't pass this today, it's serious stuff. It means that I got to make a call as a coach, and I got to speak to Dee as the other coach to put a plan together to see where it's going to go. Okay, because time's ticking along now. Okay, we've only got a month till the actual day.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, let's go!
2 hours out there, how was it?
It was actually quite enjoyable, I've got to be honest. First time I've actually done quite a bit of stuff in seawater. I'm usually just in the open water, which is a bit different. So, no, enjoyed it, really good.
About an hour and a half in, I started feeling it a bit, but seeing all the lads keep cracking on, it was a good feeling when we got it done.
Because all of you did the 2 hours, so you've all passed, you're all ready for it. Just keep doing what you're doing, okay? You know, in training, it's obviously working because you've just completed that. Some of you over 5,000 metres in 2 hours, so that's really, really good. So congratulations, round of applause, guys. We're ready for France. Hands in. All in, one all in. Okay, 3, 2, 1, Big Rugby
Congratulations to all of you for doing your 2-hour test swim today. I didn't think when I saw some of me included would be able to get up to the 2 hours. Jason, your journey, your transformation from where you were in January has been unbelievable. So,
this was just a little bit of fun, but a bit of something for tonight, and a few of my observations as the union team manager, but as the trustee who's helped Alan Mickey put this together. You're a new man, looking at you. Our Zero to Hero Awards. The Mr. Entertainer. Round day one. And I'd just like to say, every single thing we've ever had to deal with, some really, really dark and tough days, he does it with absolute gung-ho, positive mindset and enthusiasm. And he is tonight my chief inspiration officer. You're still my absolute hero, and you'll always be an Iron Man to me. So, chief inspiration officer.
It's a fix! Did your husband? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
That's what we live for, boys.
The Big Rugby Swim may yet to have taken place, but for the people in this group, it's already been a remarkable journey. Former players battling not just the physical demands of swimming the channel, but the mental challenges of everyday life. For some in the group, those struggles have been against depression, addiction, even suicidal impulses. They firmly believe in this cause. They believe that they can help make the game safer for future generations, and that challenges like this will help to make that happen. At some point, rugby will have to fully confront its uncomfortable relationship with concussion. And perhaps it's making the sport do that that's the biggest challenge of them all.
This is beyond belief, you know what I mean, to get all this coverage, and hopefully we'll raise loads of money for people with the head injuries, and this will be all worthwhile.
The biggest thing I miss from rugby is being part of a team, and we've definitely got that here with this special group that have come together.
It's a game problem, and we need to work together to make it better. There's no one magic bullet that's going to change this, and nobody's trying to fight to change the game. They want it to be better.
It's not just going to benefit me swimming. It's going to be a psychological shift. It's leaning into the fear, and on the other side of fear, there's always a beautiful place. I know that to be true.